How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over Bagon Community Day Classic. With that being said, let's jump straight into it. Alright, so this Com Day Classic is going to take place on April 7th from 2 to 5 p.m. local time. Now, the bonuses are going to be as follows. We're going to get 3-hour lure modules and incense like normal. The special bonus is going to be 3 times catch experience, which is super awesome. Now, unfortunately, unlike regular Com Days, we're not going to get the 2 times catch candy bonus, as well as the 2 times chance to receive more extra large candy, which just kind of suck, but if you guys do actually have a good Mega Evolution active, I'll talk about the relevant ones later on in this video, then it should be okay. You should be able to still get, enough extra large candy to max out at least 1 Salamence, but again, we'll talk about that more later on in the video. Now, unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be getting 2 special trades per day either. We will have the 1 special trade that we just get every day, but yeah, I guess for Com Day Classics, we don't get the additional special trade, which is really unfortunate. We're also not going to be getting 50% less Stardust when trading Pokemon. I'm not really sure why Niantic takes this bonus specifically away, considering that this promotes more community interaction, but whatever, man. We are going to be getting 5 free Bagon from Snapshots, so that's like the only other bonus that they actually kept in. So 3-hour lure modules and incense, 3 times catch experience, and 5 free Bagons from Snapshots. Everything else that we normally get during Com Days, unfortunately not during Com Day Classics. Alright, moving on though, let's talk about showcases next. So guys, showcases are some of the best ways to get premium items in game if you get 1st or 2nd place. You can just search this up really easily just by typing in XXL, and then all of them should pop up. It will be pretty competitive though, so if you can place in showcases that people don't typically go to, that'll be to your advantage. And again, like if you place 1st or 2nd in multiple of these showcases, there's a good chance that you might get something like star pieces, lucky eggs, lure modules. There's a ton of really good stuff you guys can get from showcases. Now, we are going to be having themed field research during this event as well, so you guys can get more encounters with Bagon, you guys can get Stardust, Pokeballs, etc. Unfortunately, they don't re-roll on the hour like other events. It would have been really awesome if they did that, or they kind of incorporated that into, Com Days, but unfortunately that's not the case. Now guys, this is technically one of the best ways to get a hundo in-game, potentially even a shundo, because the floor IVs on research tasks are going to be 10, 10, 10, so you have a really good chance of actually getting that hundo. So if getting a shundo of this is your goal, then definitely make sure to do a lot of field research tasks throughout the day. Of course, catch as many Pokemon as you can. I've gotten most of my hundos just from wild encounters, not so much from field research, but I have gotten at least about 10 or 20, I want to say, from field research encounters, so if you grind them out, it's definitely possible. Moving on, let's talk about the exclusive moveset Outrage. So you guys are going to have from 2 to 7 p.m. to evolve your Salamence to get it with this moveset. Now, how good is Outrage, right? So Outrage, specifically on Salamence, is a massive upgrade from Draco Meteor, and it's pretty much required in order for Salamence to maximize its potential. So let's talk about this more in depth now in raids, and then we'll talk about PvP. Although, spoiler alert, it's not really that good in PvP. Alright, so first of all, let's talk about it in raids, right? How good is Salamence here? So at this point in the meta, regular Salamence with Outrage is still pretty good, and it does have the Mega Evolution. I don't know if we're going to get field research tasks that give us Mega Energy during this event. It would be really cool if we did. Sometimes Niantic does this, and other times they don't, so I really can't say for sure. But either way, guys, the Mega Evolution is there, and given that we do have a lot of other Dragon-type Megas in the game right now, you can kind of interchange Mega Salamence with like Mega Rayquaza, or with Mega Garchomp or something like that. You have options available. Now, for those of you watching that are new or returning players and you don't have that many Dragon-type attackers in your lineup, this is going to be a really solid Pokemon to add. I would recommend adding anywhere from like 6 to 12 of these things. And hold on, right? Hear me out on this. The reason why I say that is because if you catch a few or just a couple really high-level Bagon, like level 30 or even higher if you have the weather boost, and just evolve them from there regardless of the IVs, you're pretty much going to be set. And those can essentially be your Dragon-type placeholders that you use for the, raid/gym meta, until you get some better Dragon types with better IVs and stuff that you want to eventually max out. But yeah, that's essentially the strategy that I always recommend for newer returning players. But if you already have a bunch of really good Dragon type attackers, then I would recommend just building one if you don't already have a really good Salamence, and maybe one Shadow as well. We'll talk about the Shadow here in a second, but build one really good IV spread, like 98% IV, potentially even the hundo, and then you can Mega Evolve that one. But of course, if you don't get the hundo, that's okay too. Typically, I would say anything like 90% plus with 15 attack is ideal, and if you can lucky trade that Pokemon and get really good IVs on it, then that's even better. Now let's talk about Shadow Salamence, because I feel like this one is really important. During the last Team Go Rocket leader rotation, we did have Shadow Bagon available, so hopefully a bunch of you guys were able to save those and then TM Frustration away during the most recent Team Go Rocket takeover, which was literally like a couple days ago. With that being said though, we need to compare Shadow Salamence against regular Palkia Origin form with Spatial Rend, because we also had that Pokemon released during February. Now the reason that I brought up Palkia Origin form with Spatial Rend is because Shadow Salamence is basically at the same power potential as that Pokemon, but the difference here is that you can actually lucky trade Palkia and then save even more Stardust that way, along with most likely getting better IVs on it. Now for those of you guys who may have missed my top Shadow Pokemon to power up video for 2024, we talked about Shadow Pokemon costs compared to, regular Pokemon and lucky Pokemon. It definitely makes a lot more sense to go with a really good IV Shadow, but typically, for this, I wouldn't recommend powering up more than one. Like, I have a 98% IV that I've been saving. I'm totally going to evolve that and then eventually max it out. But, outside of that, I wouldn't do any more because I want to try and invest into more different Dragon-type attackers rather than the same Pokemon. Hopefully that does make sense, and I think a lot of you guys can relate to that sentiment as well. It's a little bit more fun to have, like, a different lineup of Dragon-type attackers rather than the same one. Like, for those of you guys who are coming back to the game, yeah, you can totally build up a bunch of, like, level 30 regular Salamence and use that as your Dragon-type attacker team for now, but eventually, it'd be cool to add in, like, a level 50 Dragonite or a level 50 Garchomp, a level 50 regular Salamence, level 50 Shadow Salamence, level 50 Rayquaza. There's so many Dragon-type options out there. So basically what I'm trying to say here is just build your best IV Shadow Salamence and just get one with Outrage and power that thing up. Outside of that, I wouldn't recommend building more, but if you want to, then by all means, go for it. Now finally, let's talk about Mega Salamence, right? How good is this Pokemon in Raid? So most of you guys probably assume that this is going to be like the best Dragon-type attacker out there, and you're close. Given the recent meta changes, it's now the third best Dragon-type attacker in the Mega category. So if you guys don't have Mega Rayquaza or Mega Garchomp, then this will be the best option for you. But again, like, we don't know if we're going to be getting Mega Energy from these research tasks. I'm hoping that we do, but if we don't, then you won't even be able to Mega. But in the future, we will eventually get this Pokemon back in Raid battles, then you guys can get the Mega Energy for it. But yeah, all around, Mega Rayquaza is the MVP, so if you guys already have Mega Rayquaza, then you don't need to worry about Mega Salamence so much. Now, I briefly mentioned this earlier. How good is Salamence in PvP? Well, that's a really simple answer. It's just not good. So we're not going to talk about this at all. Like, if you guys want to do the research yourself on PvPoke to just, re-verify that it's not good, you can do that yourself, but trust me guys, I looked into it. It's not good for Great League, it's not good for Ultra League, and it's really not good for Master League. Maybe it might be good for Master League Premier Cup, but honestly, that's even a stretch, and you probably have better options out there like Garchomp, Dragonite, Rayquaza even with Breaking Sway. So basically, in conclusion, Salamence is going to be a solid Pokemon for the Raid/Gym meta, but not so much for PvP. Also, if you were able to Team Frustration away on your Shadow Bagon, then make sure to evolve them just to get Outrage and just, power up your best one. That's my recommendation there. Now, once again, for any new or returning players watching this, I would grab a few level 30 Bagon, evolve them into Salamence directly, give it Dragon Tail plus Outrage, and you should have a solid team of Raid attackers ready to go. Now, like usual, guys, I like to go through some additional tips and tricks for any new or returning players watching this, so with that being said, let's jump straight into them. The first tip that I'm going to go over is, of course, going to be the fast catch trick. This is definitely the best way to catch Pokemon in the game. Niantic did recently disable AR mode, though, so that was an even faster way to fast catch, and unfortunately, we can't do that anymore, so yeah, kind of rip to that method. Regardless of that, if you haven't learned how to do the fast catch trick, I'm going to leave a link to this video right here. Seriously, recommend learning how to do that before Com Day. It makes a massive difference. Like, if you're ever wondering how some players just catch so many Pokemon during this event, this is how they're doing it. The next tip is going to be to create a search tag for all the Bagon that you want to evolve. You guys can quickly check for good IVs and hundos by typing in 3-star and 4-star. 3-star is going to pull up all of your really good IVs, 4-star is going to pull up your hundos. Moving on from that, the next tip is going to be the Mega Evolutions you want to have active. So Bagon is going to be a pure Dragon-type Pokemon, so anything along the lines of Charizard X, Charizard Y, Ampharos, Sceptile, Altaria, Salamence, Latios, Latias, Rayquaza, and Garchomp are all going to function. Now, whichever one you guys have at Mega Level 3, prioritize that one over the others for increased candy and extra large candy. And once again, considering that we're not going to be getting the 2x catch candy bonus as well as a 2x chance to receive more extra large candy, this Mega Evolution bonus is going to be really important for making sure that you're getting as much extra large candy on Bagon as possible. Now, following that, the next tip is going to be regarding storage space. So generally, I recommend a minimum of 100 open spots and ideally 250 plus for an event like this. If you guys are still having trouble just getting down to at least 100 open spots, then check out my full storage management guide. I'm going to leave a link down below as well as in the top right hand corner right now. Following that, let's talk about bag space. So a combination of red, great, and ultra bolts, guys. A minimum of 200 is what I recommend. Ideally 500 plus, so you don't have to even worry about Pokeballs during this event. Now, for a Com Day Classic, I do typically recommend more pineapple berries than normal. Once again, during the normal Com Days, we do get that 2x catch candy bonus, which is really helpful, but unfortunately, we don't have that during this event. So if you guys don't have that much time to play, pineapple berries are going to be your best friend because you can get so much candy really quickly just using these throughout the day. Now, one tip that I don't normally give during regular Com Day videos is to do Shadow Legendary raids after the event ends. Now the reason why I say this is because Shadow Legendary raids are so difficult to get done. You cannot remote anybody in, so you have to do them all in person. Considering how many people are already going to be out for this comm day, it shouldn't be that difficult to get a few locals together, you know, that are already out playing. You know, just ask them if they want to do some trades, and then after the trades, you guys can go and do some Shadow Entei raids. You know, again, they're only in-person raids, so it's really difficult to get these things done. And again, like during normal comm days, the second stage form will appear in raids for like, I don't know, 5 hours, but during comm day classics, we don't actually have that bonus, so it's really important to take advantage of the groups that you get together during events like this, because otherwise it's really hard to find people, at least it is in my opinion. The next tip is kind of an obvious one, but I like to go over it anyways. You know, for those of you guys who don't know how to find good spawns in your local area, you know, Pokestop dense areas or cluster spawns are typically parking lots, grocery stores, superstores, or college campuses are also really good as well. Basically anything like that is going to be a good place to go and just kind of cycle through in like a 30-minute loop, I would say, whether you're walking or driving, either or. If you're driving though, hopefully you do have a Go Plus. Please do not catch and drive. That is definitely not something I recommend doing. But yeah, definitely make sure to hunt in those areas if you do want to get more spawns and really maximize your gains. Now, because Bagon Comm Day is going to be a 3x catch experience event, I highly recommend using Lucky Eggs throughout this event window. It's probably one of the best times to actually use your Lucky Eggs, especially if you're going to be aiming for those excellent throws. Guys, it is going to be 3,000 experience for the excellent throw without a Lucky Egg, 6,000 experience if you get an excellent throw with a Lucky Egg, not including all the other catch bonuses as well. So yeah, that's pretty cracked. On that note as well, I would also recommend saving as many Nana Berries as possible, because if you're going for excellent throws, using Nana Berries is pretty much the key. Now, even though it does take a little bit longer to set up, I find that my excellent throws are a lot more consistent because the Pokemon can't move around, it can't attack you, it's just going to stay in the exact same spot, and you can just throw whenever you're ready. I also want to mention that if you guys have any field research Pokemon stacked, you know, during downtime between when you're going from one spawn cluster to another, you can just catch those field research Pokemon on the way there, or whenever you guys just have downtime. That's a really good way to take advantage of your field research encounters. Now, with that being said though, if you guys are moving at a decent pace while you're walking, your instant should be picking up new spawns about every 30 seconds, so if you guys aren't paying attention to those, make sure to kind of like go out of the field research encounters, check to see if you have any instant spawns, catch those, go back to the field research encounters until you get to your destination. You kind of get what I'm throwing down here. And then finally, one of the last things you guys can do is to claim any friendship experience or special research experience you guys have been saving. So special research from any of the quests, and then friendship experience, like if you're 1 day away from best friends or 1 day away from ultra friends, even if you're 1 day away from great friends, that's still a decent amount of experience, and you're getting it added on to all the excellent throws that you're getting. So yeah, that's pretty much the best way to maximize your Lucky Egg, especially as a free-to-play player. Like, you probably don't get that many Lucky Eggs, and you really want to make sure that this Lucky Egg goes a long way, and trust me, during a comm day like this, it definitely will. Now finally, my last tip is going to be in regards to the Picnicker medal. So basically what I recommend is just dropping lure modules at your most popular grind spot right when the event starts at 2 p.m. And basically the way that this works is that you get 1 point every single time somebody else catches a Pokemon off your lure module. So in the right location, you can make some insane progress on this medal, especially since your lure module is going to last 3 hours long. Well, that pretty much covers everything I needed to go over. If you guys want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.